You're watching WH Newscast. I'm Randy Alvarez. Today's topic, what you need to know about weight loss. With us, we have an expert on the topic, PhD in nutrition, Dr. Johnny Bowden. Dr. Bowden, welcome to the program.
Good to see you
now
again.
I can call you Johnny, is that
Please,
right?
Please, of course.
Now, we met years ago.
We did.
You look younger now and fitter now.
I do.
Every year.
Thank you.
Right? Okay. Now, this book is in...
I made a pact with the devil. That's how
that
works.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, this book. Is in every bookstore in America.
It is. The 150 ways to boost your energy.
I see it all over the place.
Thank you.
And, you know, we wanted to share this. This is our 5-minute to 10-minute weekly newscast. And we normally don't, I don't want to sell products on the show, but I'm a firm believer, so is Dr. Weiss. Everybody needs a coach. You've been one of my coaches.
Thank you.
I've listened to all your tapes.
Thank you.
Fantastic. So
have they helped?
And I like to call you the Tony Robbins of
health and nutrition.
I'll
take it.
Have you anybody say that before?
I've heard it before, and I'll take it. I'm a big fan of Tony.
So I want to talk about your book today. 150 most effective ways to boost your energy. And the reason why I think this is appropriate is because the people that come into WH Longevity, our health and wellness, the medical center, they complain about energy, low energy levels.
All the time. It's endemic. It's one of the things every health practitioner hears in their office on a daily basis. I don't have any energy. I don't have the get up and go I used to have. So it's something that people complain about all the time.
So this is your 6th book.
It is.
Is that right?
It is.
And what was your first book?
Well, my very first book, which nobody read except my girlfriend and my mother, was Johnny Bowden's Shape Up, the 8-week program to transform your body, your health, and your life.
All right.
No one read that. That came out during 9/11. Wasn't the best time for publishing. The first book that kind of put me on the map, if you will, was Living Low Carb. And that was a guide to lower carbohydrate living, what the science showed about heart disease, diabetes, metabolic syndrome, obesity, and how that would be impacted by lowering the carbs in your diet.
Now, for people that don't know you, by the way, your background, always been involved in nutrition. Is that right?
Second career, late 80s for me. I was a fat, out-of-shape musician, musical director, and Broadway pianist. And
is that right? So now
smoked cigarettes, and
I've heard all your tapes. I mean, you're a motivator. Why this book on energy? The next one, this last one.
The one on energy came because it's the thing that I hear on my website, johnnybowden.com. I get a lot of emails and I answer a lot of questions, and I do a lot of these Ask the Doc columns for Better Nutrition Magazine and for Clean Eating Magazine. And one thing that comes across my desk daily is I don't have any energy. I don't have any get up and go. I don't have the drive I used to have. I don't have the libido I used to have. I don't have the wherewithal to keep it up for 2 tennis matches in a row. And that's something that's so very common. Young mothers, business people, they come home, they crash in front of the couch, they got that clicker, and that's it for the night. And they're falling asleep 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So it's pretty endemic that we don't have the energy we used to have, and it seems to be a big concern for a lot of people.
Do you see it turned around?
Do I see
quite a bit? I mean, people all of a sudden no energy. I mean, we see it in the medical center.
Yeah.
People that had no energy, now they have energy again.
It can be turned around. I don't see it happening overnight. It really requires some basic changes in lifestyle. Because you have to think of it this way. Energy is our natural birthright. You look at a 2-year-old kid, you don't have any problems with energy. You can't even keep up with them. That's kind of how we came out of the box, energetic and
I have
interested.
a 7-year-old. We're in the hotel room and he's jumping from bed to bed to bed.
And they're interested in everything. And they want to get into everything. They're like having a new puppy in the house, right?
Okay.
So what happens when we slow down like that? What takes place?
Is it cellular energy
Well,
diminishes
I think
over
it's
time?
a lot of things. It's it's having the wrong fuel. It's not having enough sleep. Which is, I used to have a professor in psych school who used to say, when you hear hoofbeats, don't start by looking for zebras. Look for the obvious thing. Let's start with the horses.
Okay.
And if people are dragging themselves through the day, the first place to look at is the quality of their sleep.
Is
sleep. We've got, we're talking diet world. We talk about the Paleolithic diet.
Okay.
What were we designed to do best on? Food that we could hunt, fish, pluck, or gather. Okay? When we look at our sleep patterns, what were we designed to do? Before electricity, what did we do?
Sleep?
We went with the sun and the moon. When the sun went down, we went to sleep. There was no extra light. There was no way to stay up. There were no computers. There was nothing. You went to bed at the campfire. You woke up when the sun rose, and you went through the day.
Okay.
So our rhythms were very much in line with the kind of circadian rhythms, our circadian rhythms, which are 24-hour rhythms in our body, were in line with that of the universe. There's a disconnect now. So we stay up all hours of the night. We have the computer going on.
But the patients we talk to, they'd love to sleep. But they just can't.
But they can't do it
right.
because there's so many distractions, because they're not fueling their bodies properly, because they've got too much stress going on, which plays havoc with hormones and with weight and with all kinds of other things, because they've got electricity in their bedroom, because they use their bedroom as a second office. They think they're Hugh Hefner. They got the computers going and the TVs going.
Do you think the bright light of a computer on the internet
absolutely
makes it tough to shut down?
I do.
Raises cortisol?
I do. I do believe that. I think that
That's outlined in this book, by the way? I have not read this particular book. Only flipped
tons of stuff on sleep in there, because sleep is it's so rejuvenating, and you replenish hormones and biochemicals and things that you need for energy. And if you're not sleeping properly, everything starts there.
So do you outline the supplements to take?
Absolutely.
Things like that
We talk
to get
about
yourself sleeping.
Not only supplements, but things you can do to make your bedroom more inviting, more for the things it was intended for, which are basically sleep and getting lucky. It's not meant to be a second office. It's not meant to go to sleep with the TV on. It's not meant to have a computer running all the time and to have your BlackBerry so you check it when you get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom. That's not what we were designed to do.
So sleep is your second chapter. It's first chapter. What to eat and drink for high energy.
Very important. If you're not getting the right fuel, it's like having a Ferrari and giving it crummy gas. And like I say I've said in a number of my books, we have a factory-specified fuel. That's the fuel we were meant to design. We were designed to do.
Elaborate on that, by the way.
Okay, factory-specified fuel.
Never heard that.
If you buy a Sony Discman, it comes with factory-specified batteries. They tell you this is the one that you'll get the best performance from. It doesn't mean you can't use another kind of battery, but it means they tested the performance on it with these kind of batteries.
Or a brand new Mercedes.
Or a brand new factory-specified gasoline. The factory-specified washing machine has a certain kind of soap that they test.
That's right.
Right? Okay. We have a factory-specified fuel.
Humans.
Every sentient being. Squirrels have a factory-specified fuel. It's called nuts. Lions have a factory-specified fuel. It's called hyenas and gazelles.
Okay.
You can take a lion, put him in the zoo, and feed him chocolate chip cookies and keep him alive, but you're not going to get lion performance out of him, are you? And it's the same with us.
Interesting.
So we have a factory-specified fuel. It's the fuel that we ate for our 2.4 million years that the human genus has been on the planet.
So eat the way you were designed to eat is your message.
That's pretty close to it. I mean, you have to think of it this way.
I mean, you say it better than anybody else, by the way. In your books, and by the way, is that Diet Boot Camp? This is your how to sell it, right?
It is the bestseller on the website. We've got a social networking set up for people who are doing this, people who are losing a ton of weight on it.
I try to quote you all the time, but what do you call that? So the factory designed way to eat?
Factory-specified fuel.
Factory. So you outline what you're supposed to eat.
Yeah, it's not hard. Food that you could, I used to have a friend, Robert Crayon, who you probably know very well, who used to say, pretend you're naked on the plain in the African savannah with a stick. What would you eat?
Okay.
And if it falls under that category, it's probably part of your factory-specified fuel.
And just by doing that, if you eat the way you were designed to eat, energy goes up.
Automatically.
Problems start to go away.
Automatically.
High blood pressure, blood sugar.
It's the beginning of it, because we were not meant to live on barcode food. We were not designed for that. Our genes aren't adapted to that. Our genes aren't adapted to 24-hour supermarkets. They're adapted to a hunter and gatherer society. Now, we're not going to go out and start catching the chicken and plucking it and strangling it and making our own food and baking every single thing that we eat. But to the extent that we can go back to food that doesn't have a barcode, isn't processed, we're doing ourselves an enormous favor, and we're getting back to that factory-specified fuel.
So now, the next chapter, okay, says supplements. How important are supplements in this whole thing? And why not just get your vitamins and minerals from food?
Well, there's a lot of reasons.
I mean, I have strong opinions about this as well, but I want to hear your take on it.
There's a lot of reasons. You can get everything. As dietitians who I fight with consistently and constantly on every show all the time, they hate me. Dietitians will tell you can get everything you need from food. You can get minimum wage nutrition from food. You can get everything you need to prevent a nutritional deficiency disease from food.
Like
now,
malnutrition.
I had been, before I started doing books and media and stuff, I had a private practice for about 20 years. I never saw a case of beriberi. I never saw a case of rickets, and I never saw a case of scurvy. So preventing a nutritional deficiency disease is not really what it's about. We're about optimum nutrition. We're about getting therapeutic dosages of nutrients that aren't always found in food. Take alpha-lipoic acid, for example, which is in the book. Unless you're eating organ meats and hearts and brains, you're not getting very much of that. And even if you were, which you're not, you wouldn't be getting the therapeutic dose that can be used for example, blood sugar regulation or liver health. So there are a lot of nutrients, coenzyme Q10, found in trace amounts in food, not nearly enough.
All that's in the book.
All of it's in the book.
And this week, Dr. Weiss says, look, on these weekly newscasts, we don't want to sell things, but this book,
thank you,
just has too much information.
Thank you.
To share in one report.
Thank you.
Exercise, and we're out of time, but exercise your way to more energy.
It's a
Seems
paradox.
like it's going to make you more.
You would think, right? And the paradox is that people who don't have energy to exercise.
Yeah.
But paradoxically, energy is created by exercise. You got up here and did 20 jumping jacks right now.
Yeah.
You would not be tired. So the trick is, how do you get your motor running that way, and how do you mobilize that energy to start exercising? And I give some hints in the book on how to get started with that. It's actually not as difficult or time-consuming as a lot of people think. You don't need an hour a day in the gym. You can exercise smart.
You're fit.
Thank you. You can exercise.
Now, you're buff.
Thank you.
Okay.
Smart rather than hard.
Smart exercise.
Yeah.
Okay. You think a lot of people over-exercise?
I do.
I mean, I know people that exercise for an hour a day and they're flabby.
I think a lot of people exercise inefficiently, and we can certainly talk about that more if you want. But I don't think people use their exercise time to its greatest advantage.
Okay. Now, where do you get the book, by the way?
Barnes & Noble.
Because I wanted to carry it on my site, but you say just Barnes & Noble.
Amazon.com. I buy them on Amazon.com.
Amazon.com.
I get better deals on that than I do with my author's discount. So.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So Amazon.com, 150
my
ways
favorite.
to boost your energy. Do you offer a guarantee that if they don't have more energy, they get their money back for the book?
Nobody's ever asked for that.
Okay, well, I am. Okay. So
I'll personally send you a check.
How about a tip now? This is this week's tip for more energy. What could somebody do right now, this weekend, to give them more energy?
Well, I'm going to tell you something that is going to probably surprise you, because it's not in any of the categories we talked about, but it's a big category in the book. And it has to do with detoxifying from toxic relationships. One of the biggest things that drains energy is when you've got unexpressed communications, when you've got stuff you're holding on to, anger, resentments, feelings that you haven't expressed to people that are important in your life, whether they be people you work with or people you live with. So I talk about detoxifying from your relationship environment and creating more honest relationships in which you can be more fully expressed. And when you are fully self-expressed, your energy level will go through the roof, guaranteed.
Wow, great tip of the week.
Thank you.
Phenomenal. Thank you, Johnny. Always a pleasure. Dr. Johnny. That's this week's WH Longevity Report. We'll see you next week.